Hey, good morning, good morning. What's going on, guys? Well, good evening to you guys. Good morning to me. Just now waking up. It's 7 a.m. over here where I am. I'm on my balcony right now. Maybe I can switch the camera around so I can kind of see where I'm at. I don't know how good you can see it, but this is Nakula. Nakua. I don't know how to pronounce it. Nakua, something like that. But it's like northern Pattaya, Thailand. I don't even know if it's Pattaya or Pattaya. Our view out here for where we are for right now. Actually, we'll be moving in a couple more days, so it'll be another view. But this one has been pretty well for us. The beach is right over there. It's kind of foggy, you probably can't see it, but pretty nice view. So that's where I'm gonna do our hangout for today. We're gonna talk about fix and flips. I was surprised that was the one that most people voted for to talk about. It's a lot of different ways that you can do real estate. I love each and every way that you can do real estate. I think that it doesn't matter which one you choose, as long as it matches up to what your current skills and your resources are. I feel like it'll be a good choice for you. Regardless. Whatever you choose to do in real estate, definitely just get started in something. I can talk a little bit about how I got started. I got started really as a real estate agent. And so I moved from Philadelphia down to Georgia. I needed something new to do. At the time I was in Philadelphia, I had I guess you can call it a career. It was paying pretty good money. I would say about $60,000 a year plus all these perks and stuff like that. So it's a real cushy job, but they wanted a lot of control of my life. And they were doing a lot of things that I felt like I wasn't getting treated fairly. And then I also saw myself being worth a lot more value than what they could pay me. And so I decided to pick up my life, come all the way down to Georgia, and I needed something new to do. I kind of ran into real estate. It's kind of weird how I was just looking for a job online on Craigslist, really. And the particular ad said that they were looking for someone who had leadership and marketing skills. So that sounded like me. I was like, hey, I'm going to go for this job here. And when I got there, it wasn't really a job interview. It was really just them handing me a list of houses and telling me to go lease out these houses. And mind you, I didn't know anything about real estate at the time, not one thing about real estate, literally. And so they handed me the houses. It wasn't even an interview. It was more like an orientation. They said, go out there and go lease these houses. And I really had to figure everything out from that point on. During that time, it was about 2012, 2013. And during that time in the real estate market, I wish I would have known more than what I knew at that time, because I feel like I would have been able to make a whole lot more money than what I was doing. But everybody, you have to start somewhere, of course. And so I had to start at that point in my career in 2012, 2013. And I was working for a really large hedge fund. And this hedge fund is the biggest, actually the second biggest landlord in the whole entire country. And so I didn't know that they were buying up about 300 homes a month from the foreclosure auction. And so what I found was that I'm working for this hedge fund. They're just basically had a team of about 100 of us going out to the foreclosure auction. And so it's a team of about 100 of us, real estate agents, is real estate leasing agents, is people who are property managers, and it's a team of 100 of us. We all went out to different counties in Georgia. And so Georgia has a lot of different counties. That's how they separate things out there, where people are known to live in a county and then your city. And so we went to about 10 different counties, 100 of us breaking up into teams, and we were buying up 300 homes every single month for this huge hedge fund. And at the time, I didn't even know what was going on. I'm just like, how are these people able to pay for so many houses at once? It was like an endless flow of money. Like literally, whatever house they had on their list that they wanted, no one was outbidding them on the foreclosure steps. So, I mean, these people had so much money. One time I was in DeKalb County, and I was at that auction, and they told me, hey, Trey, can you go and travel to Gwinnett County, take about $5 million in checks, because they need some more money up there to buy some more houses. And so I'm in my car driving with $5 million in checks just to go transfer it over to the next county's team so that they can buy more houses in that county. And I'm sitting there like, what is going on? Like, I am so unaware, but I need to understand what the heck is happening here. So I just start opening up my eyes a little bit more as far as what was happening, and come to find out later on that the real estate market was just it was just recovering from a crash, right? And so this kind of has something to do with what we're talking about in fix and flips a little bit, but it's a little backstory about basically the real estate market and where it was in 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So basically in 2005 and 2006, the real estate market was like at its height as far as sales, as far as sell prices. It was like every at the time, because anybody could get a loan. I mean, if you breathed and you breathed correctly, basically they was just going to give you a loan. It didn't matter how much money you made. It didn't matter about the house. At that time, the laws were a little different as far as funding is concerned, and anybody was getting funding for anything in 2005, 2006. And so it made it really, really easy for you to be able to do whatever you wanted in real estate. Then come around 2006, 7, and 8, the real estate market hit a bubble, and they call it the bubble popped at that point. So at 2005, 2006, everybody and their mom was doing real estate. So if you think about it, if everybody's doing it, everybody's getting funding, eventually this thing is going to slow down a little bit, right? And so what happened in 2008 and 2009, the real estate bubble popped, laws changed, people who were able to get all this funding before, the foreclosure market started to get a little higher because people couldn't afford their mortgages anymore. At the time when they were giving out funding, people weren't looking at the type of funding that they were getting because they was just able to just get it. So it's like, who's going to read the paper? Anything I want, I'm just going to be able to get in there, sign it. But what happened was, with the type of loans that they were getting, they were basically fluctuating APR. And so you might have got a loan at the time that said you were paying 3% APR, but the paperwork said that within 2 to 5 years, that APR can change and fluctuate to whatever it wanted. And so once that happened and the bubble popped, the bank started to change their interest rates. And so things that were 3% went up to 8%. 10%, whatever they wanted. And if you can imagine the percentage of loans, when people are already getting a loan and you were paying $600 for your mortgage, and then that 10% happens, now you're going up to $1,200 for your mortgage, $1,300 for your mortgage. And a lot of people lost their home at that time. And so I don't know if you guys remember, around 2008, 2009, 2010, all the way up to 2012, we were at the height of foreclosures at that time because nobody can pay their extraneous mortgages because the pricing went up for the mortgage. So you can imagine that's when laws started to change. Now they were like, it was now there's truth in funding laws, and there's trust in funding laws, and all these laws because now they want people to be able to afford the mortgages. You can't just breathe and get a mortgage anymore nowadays. Now you actually have to get approved for it, show your funding, and that's why things are a lot more stricter nowadays because of what happened in 2008 and 2009. Everybody who got a mortgage before pretty much couldn't afford their mortgages anymore, and so now you got 50% of the housing market that's now going into foreclosure because they can't afford their mortgage anymore. And so nowadays, it's changed a little bit. Now you become to 2012, 2013, which was the time that I got into the real estate market. Now you got all of this extra inventory on the market. You got extra foreclosure homes because of all these people who are going through foreclosure, right? And so now you think about who can save the housing market at this time. If you got all of these foreclosure homes, now everybody who was into real estate before, don't nobody want to get into it anymore, right? If you were doing fix and flips, or if you were buying up apartments or buying up homes, if you were a regular mom and pop person doing real estate, everybody stopped at that time. Real estate was looked at like it was, like real estate had a disease. If you said you was getting into real estate around 2011, 12, people were looking at you like, what are you, crazy? There's no money in real estate. It's crashed now. And so nobody was doing real estate in 2012, 2011. And so there's extra inventory on the market. Sellers are looking to sell, but nobody's looking to buy, right? And so that was what's going on at that time. And if you really know how to do real estate, it's the perfect time for you to be able to make money. It's the perfect time for you to step in if you have capital and cash to be able to buy real estate when the market is in a down spurt. When nobody's buying, that's when you buy. When nobody's buying, prices decrease. And now you can step in there if you have some cash, you can get houses at the lowest that you've ever gotten it. 2012, when I first got into the real estate market, I was hired by this hedge fund, They had endless amounts of money because they pooled their money together. And this hedge fund was like famous people that got together that already had money. They pooled their money together and they started to buy foreclosure homes at a crazy rate because nobody else was buying at the time. And so the only people that was buying homes was big hedge funds at that time. And so it was a hedge fund called Colony American Homes. There was another hedge fund called Blackstone, who's known as like Invitation Homes. And these two big guns were buying up everything in the market at the time. And so 2012, 2013, that's when the hedge funds came in there and they start buying up everything. Now we come along to 2014, 15, 16. Now mom and pops started to get back into the game because they started to see hedge funds are making all this money. And the hedge funds, what they were doing, they were buying the homes and they were just sitting on them. They were fixing some of them up and renting them out. But mainly they were just sitting on the inventory because they knew that eventually the market would turn back over, right? So if you're buying a whole bunch of houses for very cheap because no one else is buying them, eventually the prices is going to rise back up. And if you just sit on the house for long enough and it rises back up, they were able to sell the houses 3-4 years later for way more than what they purchased it for just by simply holding the houses. And so at that time in the market, if you think about the transition from the market, during the time in 2012, 2013, the hedge funds couldn't fix and flip the houses because nobody was buying houses at the time. If you think about it, they couldn't fix and flip the houses because nobody can get mortgages at that time because it was really strict. Nobody wanted to buy houses. So if there's nobody to buy houses, there's no point in you flipping the house because you'll have no one to flip it to. So that's the whole point of me saying the long out extending the story about the real estate market and where it's at and where it came from. And also it's a cycle, so it might go back. Is that you can't do fix and flips in every single market. You can't. You have to do fix and flips in a market where people can afford to get funding, people are able to get funding, and then also it's in an area where people are buying at. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make for buying a fix and flip house is to buy it in the wrong area. If you have any experience doing wholesaling is usually like you go buy this messed up house, tore up house, and you want to go resell it to a buyer. And one of the best things you can do is know what type of neighborhood you're in to know who you can flip your house to. If you have a messed up house, just because it's if you're driving past and you're driving for dollars, let's say for instance, and you're driving around a neighborhood and you're trying to find a real estate house that you can flip or a real estate house that you can even wholesale, you really have to know that area. So let's use an example. Let's just use an example. So let's say that you're in an area and the area has you see a messed up house that you want to potentially get on contract or fix and flip or wholesale. But you notice around that area, there's 10 other houses that are fucked up too. So now it's not just your fucked up house, it's 10 of them out there that's also messed up. And so you might be getting happy like, ooh, there's a lot of houses I can buy. Nobody cares about any of these 10 houses. Maybe I can get all 10 of them on contract. 9 times out of 10, the houses are vacant and abandoned, all 10 of them for a reason. The reason is usually because the house isn't worth enough for you to put your money into it, fix it up, and think that you'll get a return on it because the house probably can't appraise for higher than what you purchased it for, or people just aren't buying in that area. And so when it comes to a fix and flip, the best thing that you can do is find an area that there's a whole bunch of beautiful houses, right? Beautiful house that looks like nobody cares about it, that looks neglected or abandoned or nobody's in it, or it just looks like it can use a little bit more TLC and love. Those are the areas that you want to be able to find fix and flips in. And you also, again, you want to do it at the right time of the market. And so you want to do it at the height of the market, or at least when the market is recovering, so that you can see that, oh, there's more buyers coming into the market. They're buying more homes. There's more people that's affording to be able to get mortgages. And so that way you have someone to flip it to. But also in the area that you're buying it in, you want to make sure that it's an area where people are buying. And this is easy to do. You can actually go and you can look up actual numbers. Hey, what's up, Mom? You can actually look up numbers in that area and see what's the percentage of buyers versus the percentage of renters. If it's a renter's neighborhood, meaning that, 70, 80% of people are renting houses there, it might be a little bit more tougher for you to be able to sell your fix and flip because you don't have any retail buyers. And we call them retail buyers because they're able to buy at the highest height of what the house is worth. So retail buyers are usually going to go to a bank. They're going to get a traditional mortgage. The bank is going to appraise the house for exactly what it's worth, and they're going to be able to pay top dollar for your house. And so when you're fixing and flipping, you're not looking to fix and flip to an investor who wants to get it at a discount. You're looking to fix and flip to a retail buyer, a single family who can actually pay, get a mortgage and pay for your home, or if they have cash and they can pay $10 for your home, that happens sometimes too. So, but you really want to be able to focus on the actual area. So again, the best thing for you to do is be able to drive around in nice neighborhoods if you're doing a fix and flip, but find that one house that nobody cares about, that's abandoned, sore thumb. That's what Ashley just coined it. So basically a sore thumb in the neighborhood, that's the house that you want to be able to go and find. And that's the cash. That's when, if you find a house, a sore thumb that's like that, you'll be able to get the money for your funding a lot easier because it's going to be a needle in a haystack type of thing. It's going to take a little bit of work for you to be able to find this. And then also when you find it, if nobody else has their hands on trying to get it, then it's really going to leave you in a position where you have something that everybody wants, but everybody can't find. And so even if you don't already have funding for the home, if you go and you find this sore thumb inside of a nice neighborhood, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be successful with your fix and flip. Other than that, the percentage of you really making it and making a profit from your fix and flip gets lower and lower the more that you go into questionable neighborhoods. And so I can use an example, I'll use my mom, for example, since she says hi. She lives in Philadelphia, right? And my mom lives in Philadelphia. And this is before I even knew about real estate. I started thinking when I first got into real estate, like there's all types of abandoned houses on my mom block. I should be able to like buy these houses up and flip them to investors or even flip them to retail buyers because there's so much opportunity there. But come to find out that the houses that are in that neighborhood or on that block wasn't worth a lot of money. And so let's say, for example, the house is worth about $60,000 when it's all fixed up, said and done. So if it's worth $60,000 when it's all fixed up and said and done, then I have to really look at this house for a minute now. And so what if I look at the house and I'm like, well, the house needs about $40,000 and just work by itself. And then I have to purchase the house from the actual owner. And let's say the owner wants just $10,000 for that house. Only $10,000. That's an excellent deal for a house, right? Like, whoa, this just $10,000 I can buy a house. This is going to be awesome. But then you think about it and you're like, well, if I buy this house for $10,000 and I put $40,000 into it, that's up to $50,000 already. If anything happens with this house while I'm fixing it up and I have to pay, let's say, an extra $10,000 to get it on the market, or I have to pay the real estate agent $6,000 in order to sell it for me, how much profit do I actually make after all that time? Let's say it took me about 1 month to 3 months to fix the house up, but now I'm getting $0 for my return. So it's not a good for a good return is any more than $20,000, $25,000 on up to 40, 50, 60. You can go to $100,000 if you're in an excellent neighborhood. Let's say like California. California would have an excellent spread because the houses are already high. You can buy a house for $500,000 and then sell it for $650,000, and you can have a nice spread in between. But when you're taking smaller houses and this house is worth $60,000 when it's fixed up, and you buy it for 10 and you put 40 into it, when you come down to paying the agents, paying your fees, things like that, now you're looking at about $0 in profit. So you have to be very careful the type of neighborhoods that you're choosing to do fix and flips in. So if you are, let's say, another example. Let's say a good example would be if you found a house and you're in a $250,000 neighborhood, meaning that when it's all fixed up, when the house is beautiful, if you've done all your work to it, it's worth $250,000, right? If you look at how much spread you want to make, let's say you want to make $30,000 on this house. You want to make $30,000 on a house, just your profit, which is still, you got to think about the work that you're going to be putting in, the money that you're putting in, the time. Is $30,000 going to be worth your time? Let's say it doesn't, something happened with the house and it's not 30 days that it takes you to flip it. It ends up being 6 months. So 6 months down the line, you finally flip the house and now you've made $30,000 off of that 6 months. With $30,000 you can make $1,000 a year for a regular salary, right? So you might be thinking, like, if I could make $30,000 in half a year, then yeah, that's pretty good money. But then you have to really think about the time that it takes you and the stress that it's going to be causing you, and you really have to judge out whether or not this project is going to be worth your $30,000. So $250,000 house, you want to make $30,000 on it, so that goes down to what? $220,000. Let's say that the house takes you $60,000 to be able to fix up, and so now that leaves you at $140,000. So now you're at $140,000 that you can purchase the house for. So if you purchase the house for $140,000, you put $60,000 into it, you can potentially make $30,000 when it comes down to flipping it. And these are the numbers that you usually have to do whenever you come into a project. And I think one of the biggest things as far as like trying to figure out whether or not the house is really worth $250,000 is you kind of have to be conservative with the pricing of the other houses that are around it. And so if you see a house down the street that sold for $200,000, one sold for $180,000, but then one sold for $250,000, you don't want to put all of your whole deal on the fact that one house sold. You have other ones that sold for $200,000 and one that sold for $180,000. 9 times out of 10, if you do an average of all of those houses, then your house might only be worth about $200,000. And so you want to make sure that your numbers are going to match up to where you want to go, because the last thing you want to do is think that the house is going to be worth $250,000, and then when it comes down to it, it's only worth $200,000. And so if you purchased it for $140,000, you put $68,000 into it, and you can only sell for $200,000. Where does that leave your profit at? And this happens more times than not. Like literally, when it comes down to people not finishing their projects or really finishing and barely making money, this is one of the biggest things of not being successful in a fix and flip, is not doing your numbers right. I think the other big thing that I found of fix and flips is hiring a wrong team. Because like construction folks are one of the biggest scam artists in the world. I don't know how they do it. But they can sound like the most honest people in the world. They can sound like that they would do the most awesomest job. And somehow you'll find yourself trusting them enough that you'll pay them more up front than what you should pay them. Really, teams should be paid in increments, almost like, when you finish this part of it, you get paid this amount. When this part is finished, this amount is paid. For some reason, we get into a trust factor. We feel like, I'm going to just give you 50% of the money now, and I'll give you 50% when you're done. And next thing you know, your 50% that you gave down, that person disappears. And I'm telling you, it happens way more times than you can actually imagine that this happens, where the construction people, they'll get started, they'll look like they're starting on something. Months later, it's a ghost town. People disappear. And I was involved with one fix and flip where the person who actually owned the home lived in another state. All right, they lived all the way in New York, and they were doing a fix and flip in Georgia. I gave them a call, and I was like, hey, I was just meeting them and asking them what they were doing in real estate. They said, I got a fix and flip going on now in Georgia and Clayton County. And I was like, oh, cool. I'll go by and I'll check on it since you're out of state. And I went down there to go check on the house, and nobody was there. It didn't look like people was there in months. And so I called the owner back. Who did you say you had working on the project? How long ago did they say they was there? What type of work was supposed to be done? And it's like, well, these are the before pictures, and they're supposed to have this A, B, and C. I'm looking at the before pictures, and I'm like, this house looks exactly the same, maybe even worse than the condition that it was before. And these people skipped out with her money, and it happened to her twice in a row, where people have actually skipped out on supposed to be fixing the house up and then end up not fixing it up. And so I think two of the biggest things from fix and flips that you got to be aware of, well, not even two of the things, 4 of the things I think I've mentioned was in the right time of the market. It has to be the right time of the market. People actually have to be buying houses. A whole lot of buyers have to be in the market. They're able to afford funding, and that's happening right now. You have to do it in the right neighborhood, meaning that it has to be a neighborhood where there's other beautiful houses, and this is a sore thumb in the neighborhood. And also the houses are matching up to the pricing of what you're expecting it to be. You want to be conservative with that number. And then also you want to be able to find the right crew, someone that's already has some clout out there. You might have to pay them a little bit more, but it'll be totally worth it to know that this crew is going to stick around. They're going to do what they said. And then also the type of work that they're doing on the house is going to appeal to the people that's buying it. And so if you have any questions about, while I'm going through this stuff, just please ask the questions. That'll help to for me to figure out where everybody's at and what you really wanted to know as far as fix and flips. Then also to have a conversation. I know I'm not the only one in the group that have been involved with fix and flips before. If anybody else have been involved with it, please share your experience. Give us some insight on what you feel like was one of the big lessons that you learned. Even if it's not during this video, during this live, just put some comments in there. We can get the conversation going once people actually come around and come back and watch it and stuff. Is there anything you want to add, Ashley, since you just came up?
Yeah, I think you said everything. I think you said everything. I could just do a video with you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of other than that, I know there was other topics like people want to talk about multifamily, talk about new construction, talk about some no money down options. I have a course that's perfect for people who are getting started, and I also have a document. It's free documents that I would recommend that you check it out. If you're started in real estate, I'll put the link in the comments. If you're just getting started in real estate, trying to figure out which way to go, like you're trying to figure out which strategy is best for you, I have a document that you can look at that shows you all of the different real estate strategies, and it shows you the pros and cons of each strategy. You can find one kind of close to you, and then also have the resources for it to do. So I'll break it down where it's like if you're at this point, then you should kind of be focused on doing this real estate tactic. If it's at this point in the market, then these real estate tactics are be best for you. So you can definitely download that document. It's free, and that'll show you where you can go as far as the different tactics that you can use in real estate. If you're somebody who already have experience and you want to actually go forward and not even experience. If you're somebody who has no experience, no money, no cash, I actually have a real estate course. It's called the 7-Day Boot Camp. And you can get started even if you don't have experience or no money, and you can figure out this thing called real estate without having any money, without having any credit, and you can actually be successful in the game by just learning the basics first. Like once you have experience and you learn through somebody else's trials and tribulations, you'll be able to go out there and do whatever strategy that you want. And so I'll also put that link down below if you want to just go and get into a course where you don't need any money or credit to be able to do real estate. That's where I got my start from as far as real estate investing, is doing it the no money, no credit way. And I started off doing wholesaling and also lease options. And so I wanted to be a landlord, but I didn't have any money. So you can't use that as an excuse to stop you, right? And so what I did was I found a way to be a landlord without using my own money or credit. It's called doing lease options. And so lease options have been one of my biggest assets of being a real estate investor so far. I've done more lease options than I did wholesale deals or fix and flips. And the lease options have gotten me to the point where I'm able to understand now how to be a landlord, what to look for, what to buy. And so now me and Ashley is getting into multifamilies and new construction from the knowledge and the experience that we've gained from doing lease options and wholesaling. And so I really recommend folks to start there if you don't have any experience, if you don't have any money or credit. Just start with the basics of doing wholesaling or lease options first, because it's not as much risk. You don't need money, you don't need credit, and you can gain experience off of someone else's money and credit, and then you can go out there and do it on your own. So I recommend starting there. Some credit, some experience, then you can go into higher tiers of doing multifamily fix and flips, buy and holds, and new construction and things like that. So that's it for me for the day. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit from there. We can go into some more advanced things as we go along with the group. I'm just hoping to just help as many people out as possible. So I want to start off with the basics. We'll put it into the units category for this one. And then as we go along, we start getting more and more advanced. We'll have some deals that we can invest in together. Now that's going to be one of the funnest things. That's going to be one of the funnest things. I really believe that when it comes down to us finding a project and then us pulling our money together of people that we already trust, we've already been doing it together, then we're going to be able to move forward and start investing in things together ourselves with our own cash money. And so that way, if you only have $10,000, $20,000, you don't want to get into this real estate game and risk it all yourself. Then we can bring 10 of us together that have $10,000 or $20,000. We can all take in the risk and all take on a profit. We can do bigger and bigger projects together. And so that's where we're looking to go towards, guys. We're looking to be able to do some deals together. And so we really want to be able to make sure that everybody's on the same page and know what they're doing. So go out there and do it first. Thank you for this. I'm interested in getting started in realty, but listening to this live for future advice, this is great. Awesome.
That's Taronda. She follows me.
Oh, that's what's up, Taronda. Man, real estate is our biggest thing right now. Love
it. Freedom.
Really, this is what got us started on freedom, able to travel the world and still be able to have money coming in. So recommend everybody to get started in real estate. And then also not only to get started, but also use it as a vehicle that you can place your money in when you get rich, or it can even make more money for you if you already have money. It's not many vehicles that's able to do that, where you can start off with no money, or if you have money, you can park it and make more money. It's really nothing. Limitless. It's really limitless. That's exactly.
And it's for now or later. That's why I like. It's like this now or later. You can do fix and flips now, or you can do fix and flips later and still be able to profit from it. So it's just endless opportunities, and there's no reason why you can't move forward with it. Can you buy land in Thailand? So the interesting thing about buying land in Thailand, though, we've come to find out is because we are not citizens of Thailand, or we haven't paid our way to, it's not that much, it's like $1 million USD to be able to be on contract with another Thai person to buy land. That's basically the only way, or we can actually become citizens. To be able to do that, we have to stay here for 10 years, or we can network with the Thai person and be able to open up or to buy land here. There's like people who have partnered with other Thai people, or we have Thai people who work with Russians, or because Russians are a lot out here, or Indians, or is how you have out there. So you can be able to buy, and that's not even the land included. That's just be able to buy it. Basically, you're buying the citizenship just so you can buy land. And there you go. A lot of the houses are like kind of like village houses, so they're kind of like made for the people that live in them. So there's a lot more condos and resorts and hotels out here. So with them building condos now, you are able to own it, but you can only own up to 49% of the whole entire building. So we were looking at, but as far as buying land, we haven't really been able to do it, but we are able to. We're just not doing it because it's not profitable for us right now, but we do have something that we're looking at doing. But that was your mom that asked that question. Mommy. Yeah, but that's it.
I mean, supposedly they said they was going to change the laws here soon, where foreigners foreigners can actually buy land here. And so they said within another year or next year, something they were saying when we first got here, that soon that they'll allow us to be able to buy land here. So it's going to be crazy. Like, I feel like once that law changed, everybody's going to be coming here trying to buy as much as they can, because it is a place that's flourishing. Bangkok, Thailand is the most visited city in the whole entire world. And Pattaya, where we're staying at, is 2 hours from Bangkok. And if you can imagine, it's next to the biggest city in the world, the busiest city in the world. And so we're starting to get a lot of traffic that comes over here from Bangkok over to Pattaya, because it's one of the biggest, closest cities to Bangkok. And so they're getting a lot of influx of traffic that's coming in over here. And so a lot of people are building. It's near a beach. It's near water. It's a good retirement. Yeah, it's the closest city with the beach. It's a retirement place. And so because it's so close to Bangkok, it's so much inflow of traffic that's coming over here to Pattaya, two hours away, that they're doing a whole lot of building here, and it's a whole lot of condos and resorts building up, like Ashley said. And so what people are doing, because foreigners can't buy land, is they're going in and they're buying a whole bunch of condos, because you can own condos. Since you can't own the land, you can own individual condos. And so foreigners are coming in and they're those. So people are flipping condos where they're buying up maybe 10, 20, 30 condos when they're first being built. And so they're buying it at a discount from the builders before it's built. And then they're flipping them to retail buyers who are single families who are able to just basically buy the condo for the retail price at a higher price. And they're using that money to flip off of. So people are finding different ways to get creative.
Yeah. So the key in the success of that is to buy it in the building phase, which is not as hard, because a lot of we were just talking about this yesterday. A lot of the labor on building these condos are hands-on. It's not a lot of machinery. These are actual individuals with their hands making these condo buildings, and so it's not hard, because it takes about 3 to 4 years to build it, I guess. So from that time you can get to know the builders and actually talk to them, because the key about it is to get them while they're building or at a discounted price, so that way you can sell them at retail and actually make some profit. But some people do keep them. We have a lot of people who keep their condos and rent them out, whether it's on Airbnb or maybe have an agreement with their condo to rent them out for them. It's just endless possibilities really out here. Oh, you're breaking up a bit. Is that me or right now? Well, hopefully you guys can hear me now. But yeah, it's an opportunity out here for us. You just have to be willing to look at it and see what kind of investments you're willing to make. Are you trying to make a buy and hold, a quick flip? This was not really a fixing, because it doesn't need any fixing. So you're ready just to flip it to make a profit from how much you bought it. So it really just depends on what kind of investments you want to make.
Yeah, and it's also a long-term goal if you use that strategy. So usually the builders take about 3 to 4 years to be able to build the project up. And so it's a long-term thing. If you're putting your money into one of these condos that are being built, then you got to think about 3 or 4 years later, you'll be able to either flip them or finally rent them out. But at that time, strategy. But it's not something that if you're looking for quick returns, then that wouldn't be the strategy. But if you're looking for long-term returns, and then also something that's a lot more stable, there's a good chance that the condos you're buying at enough price that you can either sell them or rent them and make your money back. And also put in on a brand new condo where it's not going to require a whole lot of maintenance because it's just being built. And it's definitely a strategy that you can take a look at. We're hoping to be able to take some of these things to the United States. So a lot of things that we learned out here as far as new construction, we're going to be able to take to the United States and start doing some projects like that. And so we'll definitely be excited to have people involved, investing in some of these projects that we're going to be having come forward. So we got a lot of big things that's coming. We're trying to start off small, but sky's the limit. And we're trying to take this thing over to the top with you guys. So just come along with us.
Yeah, that's about it. Just keep going. And, investing can start anywhere. Like, as long as you obtain the goal, which is freedom lifestyle, you want to be able to have that freedom lifestyle. However you get there, it's up to you. These options are just available. We're telling you what helped us be successful or gain any type of wealth, whether it's knowledge, whether it's the experience, whether it's physical, tangible wealth. It doesn't matter. So we're telling you all you. We're not just talking and reading the book. Now, we have read books. We're to mentors and coaches, and so we're telling you what we actually know. So we're taking our time, because we're not going to have this time coming up. Like, we're telling you our future goals right now, which is we're going to be busy. We have all these new development projects. We're not going to have time to handhold you and go through bit by bit. So this is actually be helpful. And during those times where we're not actually going to be available, you can go back to the unit section, find these videos, and say, oh, okay, I can really do this. Or if you already do it, you just need some help, refer back to this video. Or ask us questions too, because we're available to ask questions. And even if you don't have it all right now, it doesn't matter. Just get started somehow, some way. Whether it's knowing, reading information, that's getting started. Taking action is key. You can't have consistent results if you don't have consistent action. That's really just true. If you have sporadic action, you're going to have sporadic results. And it's going to be up to you how you want your results to be given to you. Because the blessings are already here. The wealth is already here. It's just we're blinded to see it because we're not educating ourselves or taking videos like this seriously. Who else are out here talking about investments, how to do it in detail? So let's take advantage of this opportunity with this group and share your knowledge too, because we aren't the only ones that know a little something. We added you to this group because you have something to bring, whether that's awareness or knowledge or maybe your experience with whatever you do. If you do stocks, talk about that. If you just invest into a penny something, let us know. We've got some pennies we want to invest. Like, there's things that you never know. Like, you don't know how small somebody invests or how big. If you're asking for $1 million project, we may be willing and interested. You never know. And so don't make your own self fearful. This is a safe place for you to give knowledge that people are actually going to. I watch every video people post. Every comment I'm up there watching, lurking, because I'm trying to learn. And you have to be willing to give information as well, because it's a give and receive type of thing. We're not asking for no money, no nothing. We're just asking for your knowledge in exchange, which is in this group. So whatever you've learned, post about it, share videos. If you know someone who is interested in fixing flips or who are doing it, invite them to this group so they can share us their experience. Like, just continue to share the message of awareness, freedom lifestyle, and all these vehicles that help us get there, and that's continuing. Like these investments aren't just for right now money. This is today money, tomorrow's money, next month money, next year money. Like you want to make investments that is residual. You want them to keep coming. So just keep watching these videos and keep making steps towards investing. If you haven't, if you are already someone that's interested in investing, you just want to know how or which way, try them all. They're all low cost. Why not just try them all? Just pick one at a time, see which one goes. You know, sometimes you just have to be willing to take those risks. And worth it. You know, I can't tell you nothing else besides that it's worth it. And it's going to be worth it not just to you and your family or your legacy. It goes beyond that too. You know, who knows how long these houses may last, these assets, and we got to give these assets to someone else. Or maybe come a time where we got to cash out on these assets. You know, this is why you have these things, to be able to have it when you need it or be able to use it. So just keep going. I just want to encourage you guys to keep going and also to share your knowledge too, because we're willing to listen too. If no one else is willing to listen, post it for Babe, because Ashley is willing to listen. I'm trying to observe all the information that I need, because investing is what we do full time. We have no other income besides all the investments that we have. So this is what we do full time. And, you know, we're not playing around. So, okay. So, yeah, breaking up a little bit. Awesome. Yeah, so that's everything, guys. I think that's all we want to talk about with the fix and flips. I think Tracy touched on everything. That was basically perfect. He nailed everything down. The fix and flips is definitely worth it. Like you said, it's just those main points with making sure you find the right house. Make sure it's in the right location. Make sure you're hiring the right and also pay people to hire a team. And make sure that it's worth it. You know, make sure that you are going over your numbers. Like that's basically the main point. I know I was involved in a few fix and flips where the numbers weren't on point, and there's nothing worse than being in the middle of a deal and not being able to finish because your numbers weren't on point, or you know, it not being a lucrative investment deal. So definitely make sure your numbers are great. Other than that, fix and flips are really, really good profits, but it's not a lot of profits depending on, you know, which route you choose. So it's really up to you. It's possible and it's obtainable. So why not just find a deal today? Go driving around. Well, it's nighttime, but in the daytime, go driving around and see if you see one even in your neighborhood. And once you find one, message us and we'll tell you what to do next. You know, so it just go and take action, because it's possible. And people out here, it goes beyond just you trying to make money. It goes beyond that. It's actually a mission and a purpose, you know, to help people. There are people out here who are looking for houses and want to find it in the right area, the right cost, and want to be able to put it in a fix and flip situation. And just need to know where the house is. Or maybe you have a whole plan and maybe you're willing to fix and flip it and sell it later. Like you never know who you may be saving at the end of the day. You know, and that's basically what keeps me going and what I do in real estate, because I've heard so many stories with people buying houses and even renting houses, lease optioning houses, even new development, and how their life has changed from someone is having this opportunity available to them. So, you know, don't take it lightly. All right, guys. So that's everything. Hope you guys have a great evening. And I'm pretty sure we'll be posting a little poll soon for you guys to vote on the next topic. So have a great evening. We love you guys. Make sure you keep having a freedom lifestyle. Invite somebody to the group too. All right. See y'all.